This is the type of video meant for relaxation and to fall asleep to at night. It will be low, softer, and minimal editing, but maximum comfort. Let me know your favorite 3DS memories in the comments because today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite memories and just overall memorable things I enjoyed from the 3DS. I remember getting my 3DS as a birthday gift for what I think was my 13th or so birthday. I do mainly just remember being in the 7th grade. What was interesting, even at the time, I received the Mario & Luigi's Dream Team Special Edition 3DS for the year of Luigi's. Honestly, still to this day, my absolute favorite 3DS design. It's this sleek chromatic gray with line art of Mario and Luigi from their RPG series. Alongside the 3DS, I got the Dream Team game installed onto the system and Donkey Kong Country. And I remember getting the DS port of Plants vs. Zombies with that. I never beat the Dream Team game, but I know I had tons of fun with the hours I've put into it. Dream Team has consistent, bubbly, and dreamy atmospheric songs in its soundtrack. While I'm not sure if Dream Team is a better Mario and Luigi game out of the RPG series, I know I was blown away as a kid playing through a good amount of it. And I remember seeing the mesmerizing dream sequences where you fight with a multitude of Luigis. What a crazy game. With the outstanding gift of that 3DS, I got a special case to hold it in. It's in this brown leather satchel. It's a case from Legend of Zelda.
Nintendo DS case. It fits pretty much all size DS, 3DS XL, 2DS.
I remember being so young when I got this, almost 10 years ago from today. I probably was around 14 at this time. I even made a YouTube video on it back in the day when I kind of first started my channel. Time flies. I guess my channel has a really similar timeline to when I got my 3DS and whatnot. The case is really cool though. It came with two bigger stylus that I ended up using way more than the default stylus that came with the 3DS. The main one I used was a big Master Sword, and the other one was a green Hyrulean shield.
I just wanted to show you guys that, and I thought I'd make a quick video about it.
I remember having a very long journey with the game Donkey Kong Country. I did eventually beat it, but only after years. Something about 2D platformers growing up, for some reason I was just terrible at. But fighting games and racing games I found particular skill interest in. Strange how that works. I went through halfway through the entire Donkey Kong game about 2 times before dropping it both times out of boredom and forgetful child mind, as we do. But years later, when I did lock in and realize I can actually fully beat games with a conscious mind and soul, I beat it. And I enjoyed the hell out of that game. What a fun challenge to have on your 3DS. I feel like it's one of the better 3DS games out there off of the sheer quality alone. Dude, Donkey Kong games just hit hard, like Chris Brown. Let's see, what else did I play? There was so much to this 3DS and my journey, of course, even more than just the games. But my first real interactions with social media and media players, besides Facebook at the time. I remember one app you can download and it would show Nintendo trailers of Bee and Puppy Cat, but I really watched it for Dinosaur Office. If you explained Dinosaur Office to somebody that's never seen or played a 3DS, it sounds straight out of a fever dream. Surprisingly, I never really did much with others though, like Swapnote or what other little fun applications were popping at the time. I did play a healthy amount of that Nintendo Badge Arcade, that's for sure. I made a video about it years and years ago back in one of my old apartments. Although that video doesn't really hold up that well at all in my opinion, I still appreciate the 1,000 views for it. Days back, days of being in elementary school or middle school, coming home from the bus to talk to some new people on Miiverse, or trade Pokemon with a friend, or someone random. As nice as that sounds, it's in the past. It's nostalgia for a reason, and we can be upset at modern times all we want. We can never complain about the good times back then. So I say if you can hop back on Nintendo Badge Arcade one last time, give it a shot. And remember, the good times you've had with the 3DS are still in your hearts. They're still in your memories. And especially since soon, you won't be having many good times with it again. I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. I don't think my views of it, the game, are changed by any means. I still look back super fondly of it. I looked through some of my badge collection recently, and it was this mess of mixture. Christmas themed Mario items were a thing I had naturally. A lot of Legend of Zelda badges, but the Toon Link ones mainly, of course. I didn't have it any other way as a kid. I loved Toon Link, but I found the ones I loved the most, which were like mini sprites of older video games. So DS games, SNES games, N64 games, stuff like that. I did find some Game Boy Advance cartridges in there. Those might be my favorite. The Badge Arcade was silly. I remember the bunny being so memorable, even with the least memorable name of all time being the Badge Arcade Bunny. I remember the actual gameplay, me trying so many times to get a lot of the ones I wanted, mainly Pokemon ones. It was quite a difficult game, but sometimes they would hand you freebies, which I really appreciated. Wow, I watched a ridiculous amount of YouTube on my 3DS growing up. Before that, I would only watch YouTube on our Wii with my brother. Mainly things like Peanut Butter Gamer or J-Wits, maybe some Smosh here and there, lots of music, video game melodies. But on my own accord, my own YouTube account for my 3DS, I subscribed to tons of channels, watching anything gaming and Pokemon I could find. I started playing the Plants vs. Zombie port years and years ago, the one I got for my birthday alongside the 3DS. I got addicted to Plants vs. Zombies, almost too much, where I beat it multiple times, and it definitely became one of my relaxing strategy games to play, even in the later game with the difficult challenges. The main game was an awesome difficulty challenge, but the side challenges sometimes got way too difficult, like the endless mode and whatever other extreme ones there were. Before I ever got my 3DS, I remember my cousin. He got his original blue 3DS. It was so shiny and fun to play with him, the original model. And since Dream Team was the XL model, I grew to love the XL model over the original far more. But the original model he had gives me lots of nostalgia. He had a couple of random shovelware games though, which I thought were super funny. I think I remember there was a weird firefighter DS game, blasting out the fire with your water, and it kind of looked like Subway Surfer almost. And there were some other half-baked ones in there that were pretty fun for the time. He had an awesome Street Fighter X Tekken fighting game, unless it was just Street Fighter, or was it just Tekken? I think it was the one that came out with the first year's lineup of titles, which should be the Street Fighter X Tekken. A really crazy 3D fighting game for the system. Oh, the 3DS launch titles. Looking back, they weren't exactly mesmerizing, huh? Pilot Wings was good as hell, but on the top of that, I can't remember any of the other noticeable ones. I could definitely be bugging on that. There definitely had to be another notable one, but this is about memories, not just facts. Oh, this is editing rocks, but I really wanted to understand what the launch titles were for the 3DS, and I'm on the Nintendo fandom, the wiki, so I don't know how accurate this is, but it says Pilot Wings Resort, which I've only seen gameplay and reviews of. I've never actually played myself, and I don't think I've played many of these launch titles, if I'm being honest with you. Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask. I'll talk about Professor Layton in this video later, but definitely wasn't Miracle Mask, and I don't know if I know anything about that game. Plus the apparently 4 Nintendogs games that were out. Nintendogs plus Cats, French Bulldog, and New Friends. Nintendogs plus Cats, Golden Retriever, and New Friends. Nintendogs plus Cats. And then Nintendogs plus Cats Toy Poodle New Friends. The only Nintendogs I've played is on the DS, the original DS, so I'm not really sure what the 3DS versions offer, but I'm pretty sure I've seen a good amount of gameplay from the Cats. And the Super Street Fighter 4 3D edition, I guess it was Street Fighter and not Tekken X Street Fighter? It's Tekken. I definitely played one. What were the platforms? I definitely played it on the Xbox 360. Huh. Maybe it is Street Fighter. I was wrong about that. And the last one was Sims 3. But it shows the Sims 3 Wii. What? And then I looked up the Sims 3 3DS, and then this is what I got.
Nature. Blow in the mic and unleash a devastating stink storm.
A devastating stink storm. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. I appreciate your time here. My cousin also had Professor Layton in the Curious Village, which I was blown away by to every degree. The music instantly stuck with me. I still use Professor Layton music in almost every single video. It adds so much intrigue, and it's good background music to ask questions to or to talk deeply to something about, like this. But alone, the music is just fantastical in nature. The actual game was this solid challenge of puzzles and curiosity. I would love to play through all of them one day, and I don't think I would have that need if my cousin didn't stumble upon this gem. There was a time where some free games were dropping on the Nintendo eShop. I know there were small things like this on the Wii and whatnot, mainly demos, but I think this was mainly due to mobile games. Because once Pokémon Shuffle came out, it was an instant download from me. I vividly remember playing Pokémon Shuffle every single day for probably over a year. Since it was also a mobile game, it allowed for these microtransactions. You could buy more of these heart-lovey items, which is just more plays essentially. And after 5 lives, it takes like an hour to just get 1 back. All in all, it was a Candy Crush clone, matching the different Pokemon together. It was really fun though. I remember type advantages were a thing, and you could like catch the Pokemon you defeated and use them on other Pokemon for the type advantages and whatnot. It was so colorful, but it had that chibi cute style that actually works. It's not those weird chibi art styles that age badly like some anime games or those weird 3D games. It was just this vibrant, flashy Pokemon game. There was another free Pokemon game out there, but it was one of the Pokemon Rumble games. I know the 3DS ones are Pokemon Rumble Blast and Pokemon Rumble World, but I think I had World. I want to say I played World because I think I remember Mega Evolution, and I don't remember Blast having that. There's a chance I could be wrong. I do remember playing that daily too, alongside Pokemon Shuffle. It was like this rotation of hopping on my 3DS every day after school. But this one was more interactive with its environments, so it felt more like a real Pokemon experience. I did play the demo of the original Pokemon Rumble on the Wii over and over and over again as a kid, so finally having this almost free, full-fledged title made me very happy. I played it enough to have some really good Pokemon and special stuff like that. Honestly, a lot of the core moments for that game felt like a blur. It just felt like this gacha game. I can't tell you the key details, but I can tell you how I felt at the end. And I liked it. I wish this series kept up on some form and didn't die out. But I'm glad we have Mystery Dungeon still giving off that similar cute vibe. My biggest, and it's just my biggest FU to the Zelda community, is that I never finished either Ocarina of Times. Yeah, I haven't played the original since I was a kid, nor did I beat that. And I possibly haven't even touched the original N64 one since maybe my teen years. But I tried to play a good amount of the remake on 3DS. I really tried. Listen, I love the game. I really love what it offers, especially the 3DS version, because everything looks super vibrant and adds these little details that this new layer of charm. It's not even something the original had. They both have this separate entity of love for me. But as a lot of us do, I picked up the game multiple times and dropped it at random spots in the game. With Zelda games specifically, if you step away from the game for a while and come back, it is the hardest game to hop right back into. It's really something to concentrate on day after day, and one day I promise to do that. Just not today, sorry, no Young Link for you. Along that category of games in a similar vibe, I've always wanted Star Fox 64 3D. Now that I think about it, I've actually never questioned the name till now. It makes sense grammatically, but it could have just been called Star Fox 3D, right? But I guess technically there already is a 3D Star Fox game, so Star Fox 64 3D I guess makes perfect sense. But I never got that game. I still have yet to get that game. I think it was fairly cheap for a while, but with the eShop away, I'm not quite sure actually what physical copies go for. I'll definitely have to check it out. I know other games I've always wanted that I do plan on getting eventually when the cash is right. It's some popular titles actually, like Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or whatever Pokemon Dungeon is on the 3DS. I think it's new Pokemon Dungeon, new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Or any of the Professor Layton games would be a killer addition to my party, and I would love to instantly play any of those. I'm pretty sure my brother has all of those, but the Pokemon copies are hard to come by these days, so I'm not going to take that away from him. My brother actually got my cousin's 3DS from him after a couple of years, so isn't that neat? He got a bunch of games for it, mainly all of the Pokemon since we grew up loving those. I know he got things like Super Mario Land, and I did buy him the Smash Bros. 3DS recent years. Cool stuff. But the biggest journey I experienced on the 3DS was my time in 8th grade with Pokémon X. I saved up all of my Christmas and birthday money. I think it barely covered the game and tax cost, which at the time, 3DS games were $40. I bought it at Target when I think it was a several dollar tax. I want to say it was either $44.40 or $46.50. I got it around 30 days or so after the game actually released, and I stopped at nothing, and I mean nothing, to keep playing it once I bought it. It was the first game I bought on my own, with my own money, that was a new release. I finally got to experience this new Pokemon game alongside everybody else. And with the best online to date, I made friends and so much more just from this game. Don't worry, one day I will make the most in-depth Pokemon X review, and that will probably be one of my top 10 most personal, passionate videos. But I played through Pokemon X about 2.5 times. It doesn't seem like that much, but my first playthrough spanned over 400 hours. Me and my brother actually got to battle and trade in a Pokemon game for the first time since he also bought Y. I've made tons of friends and 3DS acquaintances, but mainly solely through the game, and it consists of trading with people, even internationally. Lots of trades from France, Mexico, and Japan specifically. It was simply a journey. And I played through it again, a whole second journey, and made even more friends that way, catching a bunch of Pokemon, getting a lot of event legendaries. I remember being dumbfounded at seeing my first shiny legendary for the first time, and then people glitching their Pokemon to get something rare. My second playthrough was a lot, and now I think I'm on my third playthrough, or could it possibly still be my second? I'm not quite sure. But I just recently checked back a couple days ago on that playthrough, and the final team I had was a level 90 Umbreon, a level 100 Greninja, a level 91 Chestnut, a level 89 Exploud, a level 100 Tyrantrum, and a level 100 Gengar. Apparently 16 or whatever age me when I last played this just wanted straight defense and power. It's funny to see these, especially since nowadays I go for half power tanks and the other half just cute grass Pokemon with good special abilities. I really matured, I think. I checked what was in my party though, because those previous 6 I mentioned weren't actually in my main party, but in the battle, but some of them were in the battle box that you can store for the online modes. But my actual party I had on me was the Greninja I mentioned, a Pidgeot for flying around I assume, and then 4 Fions. I think I was shiny hunting and breeding them. If I remember, I think Fion can be a pink shiny. I could be wrong, but I really wanted either a pink shiny Fion or a Fion with good IVs, if that was possible. I didn't really know much about it back then. I remember on my first ever playthrough, the one I played the most of, I garnered a shit ton of legendaries, but when I wanted to play the game again, I thought before I deleted everything, I wonder traded them all. Wonder trading is when you trade a Pokemon of yours to a random person on the internet, and they also trade one of theirs, but you don't know who or what you're gonna get. I traded a lot of good Pokemon, all of mine, but I'll tell you some of the interesting ones I have in this most recent save file. The ones that stand out to me are the Japanese Cresselia, the Raikou, the Mewtwo, the Ho-Oh, a special event Victini, a special event Keldeo, a special event Shaman, a shiny special event Xerneas, a special event Zygarde, a special event Volcanion, a special event shiny Yveltal, and a bunch of other random Pokemon, of course. I also have a level 50 Japanese Salamence for some reason. The special event ones I think were over codes online or as like a mystery gift. I remember they would hand out codes at GameStop for a couple of years. That's what I think these are, at least, because they have been caught in these fully red balls and the original trainer in their bios labeled XYZ. So either it's an official or I just got a hacked shiny Xerneas from some hacker named XYZ, which would also be really funny. I remember there was a whole scene of hacked Pokemon and hackers glitching Pokemon and sending ones that were just fake. I'm not exactly sure how it worked, nor did I ever do that myself, but I definitely got some glitched ones in previous years. Me and my brother played this Pokemon a ton, always kept it on the roster, and I stayed up many middle school nights to discover anything I could in this game. It felt endless. This was the first handheld transition into a mainline 3D Pokemon game. A ton of people clowned on it for being too easy, and maybe some OG fans were put off that it wasn't 2D, but it started this modern age of Pokemon. Honestly, I think it started a new foundation for a Pokemon that was fresh and beyond past capabilities. Black and White is regarded as the best story in a mainline Pokemon game, almost unarguable. And honestly, if you have heard my history with Black and White before, I've gotten through half the game twice and have yet to beat it. Maybe there's a pattern there. But even halfway through, I could tell the story is serious and plays on a lot of more dramatic, depressing worldly notes. Then Pokemon X came around with this almost anime filler arc storyline, feeling like a lot of cheesy friendships with good bits towards the end. Naturally, I didn't mind any of that. I came to Pokemon for many reasons, and never once was it for the story, although important, for sure. Cheesy and silly story in Pokemon games is still Pokemon to me. Everything else about X and Y was fantastic though in all regards. The hype on the discussion, if there was going to be Pokemon Z with Zygarde, the new age of TV shows, and lots of new crazy Pokemon we never thought would exist, like a literal sword. For the longest time it was perfect to me, and still to this day is one of my favorite games of all time. I do really love it, but it doesn't stop there. Pokemon actually leads me into my next memory with the Miiverse, and I do have more Pokemon game memories to share, but I'll share that right after we can talk about the social media app Miiverse. So Miiverse was my first social app experience, and yes, a lot of it was in the 3DS Pokémon X community. I was one of those kids that wanted to be popular on Miiverse. I would draw Pokemon, I would make series like Fun Pokemon Fact Fridays, Greninja's scarf is actually his tongue. Yes, that was a real Miiverse post by me. You didn't like or retweet anything, it was actually called a yeah, so you would yeah something. You can comment on posts and converse with people, but only publicly. Absolutely no private messaging unless it was on a very, very old post that nobody saw anymore. Plenty of times I would have great conversations and one day someone doesn't respond and your notifications take over your page limit and you can't really find that conversation again. If it was from a popular game forum, it would just be shadowed. The Pokemon X and Y forum was bumpin'. Even so, where I joined this tight group centered around Pokemon X, I think called something really silly. It had to be something like Divergent Clan or something with a D. We would become friends, host shiny giveaways, and do some pretty fun stuff as a group. I actually talked to a YouTuber who had a similar sub count as me at the time. We just made silly video game videos. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, but I'm for sure still subscribed to him. Maybe it was like Cool Sai or something. I don't know. Maybe that's somebody else. Just small memories like that are obviously so important to me if I can remember them almost 10 years later. Miiverse was a legit pivotal moment in my life and career with the internet and gaming. I never had so much freedom to be who I wanted to be. Yeah, so Miiverse slapped. Of course, I have embarrassing stories on Miiverse too, but maybe I'll save that for the inevitable Miiverse perspective, or maybe even at the end of the video. You'll just have to stick around. That'll be a crazy video though, one day if I do. Genuinely, if there was a song, a gaming song, that could make me cry off of nostalgia, it might be the Miiverse theme. There was something so calming and secluded about it, especially since Nintendo would make it so PG friendly, and at least from my perspective, did a very good job at that. They made it impossible to send anything really explicit, which honestly props. I did not want to see that shit at 14 years old. I was such an innocent little dude. I just wanted to talk to my friends, play Pokemon X, and hang out with my family. I wasn't doing anything crazy. Miiverse definitely helped me with that, and it helped me shape some goals that are in my life even currently. It taught me a bit about public writing and presenting yourself, and almost this beginner tutorial on journalism in a stupid way, relying on information and trying to spark conversation based off of that. I would turn my 3DS on and spend at least an hour or two every single day on Miiverse, and some days hours and hours, just all night talking to people. It was all this addiction of current social media now, but it felt like without the depressing side or after effects. Everything felt so new and fresh and wonderful. I used the Miiverse a bit when I got onto the Wii U, but after a couple of years, nothing beat those nights on the 3DS, man. Hey, quick break in the video real brief. I hope you're enjoying this weird video. It's my first time trying out something like this, so let me know what I can do differently, and if you would like to see it again. Maybe if you have other ideas and appreciate these sleep aids, then I would be happy to help because I like these types of videos. I like watching them. Who knows, possibly a video game music review or discussion sleep aid? That's an interesting idea. Something relaxing. I'm not sure yet. Anyways, if you haven't yet and you're somehow awake watching this video, go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate you sticking around this long. Alright, back to the memories. Alright, let's talk about the other Pokemon games I was supposed to talk about after Pokemon X. I did get to play, and I still was hyped for Pokemon Sun and Moon. I remember playing this demo version of it where you would go around, I think, the first city and kind of experience the first 2 hours or so, couple hours of the game. I remember it possibly was a Greninja that if you played the demo and got it, you could transfer it to your game. If it wasn't a Greninja and someone remembers, please let me know in the comments. But for some reason, that specific memory sparks my mind. And that got me pretty hyped for the game. In all honesty, I think Pokemon Sun and Moon looks visually better than Pokemon X. And even some of the other Pokemon games. I think it has more charm than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet even. But the actual core gameplay kind of mixed it up in a way that I think we just didn't really need at the time. It kind of changed the classic gym formula and went with these pillar fights almost. So it was this like regional thing in Pokemon that you would fight every once in a while instead of consistent gym battles. I mean, you were just kind of exploring this island, this beautiful island. But I remember this is when maybe at the time I started quote unquote growing up or diversing myself into new games, because Pokemon Sun and Moon, I beat it, but I don't remember beating it, in all honesty. I'll have to check back on the Pokemon I had, but at the top of my head, if you were to tell me which ones I thought I had, I would honestly not even know what to tell you. I do know for a fact that Pokemon Sun and Moon dropped one of the greatest starter Pokemons of all time, Rowlet. No one can ever take that away from me. I definitely picked Rowlet, and I still love Rowlet to this day. Any grass starter Pokemon I will almost 100% pick, even though I love all of them to death, of course. Other than that, I don't remember quite what I got, if I'm being honest, which is really, really sad. I could have told you probably what I had in that Pokemon X before I checked it recently. But the Sun and Moon nostalgia just isn't there that much. I don't remember the routes as well. I don't remember the fights at all. I don't remember lots of the Pokemon that were there. That's really sad. So one day I'm going to have to check back up on it and restart it. Give it a new perspective. Because I realized I wasn't tired of Pokemon, I think, at the time. I think it was just falling a little bit down. Which is sad to say, because from what I heard from people and my brother, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is like this super fresh idealization of a 3D handheld Pokemon game. It seems really, really good. So I'm definitely going to have to give it a go again for Sun and Moon and try it for the first time, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Third generation is still a generation I have yet to beat. I have gotten really close in the original Sapphire, but third generation, fourth and fifth, I think I have just yet to finish. Although I've played a bit of every mainline game, even as a big Pokemon fan still to this day, there's still stuff I gotta do, which is really fun. I know there was Ultra Sun and Moon, and I know my brother got that one too. I think I got Sun, and I think he got Moon, and then I think he got Ultra Moon. But I didn't play that either. I heard it was pretty much the same thing, maybe a lot of extra stuff, but I wasn't ready to pay on another full game's worth for a game that I didn't really fall in love with. As far as other Pokemon games are concerned on the 3DS, I think that's all I had. Black for my DS, X, Sun, and there was other Pokemon games I wanted. I wanted Detective Pikachu. I wanted the other Pokemon Rumbles, Mystery Dungeon, but I never got those. I'm willing to wait and experience them properly when I need to, which I think is nice. Alright, enough about Pokemon for now. Can we talk about possibly my favorite 3DS game ever made of all time? I mentioned it in at least 4 videos for over the past 3 years, but Attack of the Friday Monsters, A Tokyo's Tale, made me want to change my entire lifestyle and move out to the outskirts of Japan and become a farmer family man. I don't think anyone would or anything would ever rival my love for Pokémon X, but Attack of the Friday Monsters might take the throne. It's just this perfect comfort game for me. The 3DS graphics add to that old school charm, this soft and warm graininess you could only get from hardware limitations, the little sporadic sound effects thrown into the game to give you the atmosphere taken right from a summer memory in Hokkaido. What a silly, nonsensical game too, that allows me to really relax for once, which to me is actually a perfect game. I played most of this game as an adult on a car ride back to my hometown with my parents. I don't get to visit them often, and being with them, but also playing my 3DS like I was younger, fully warped me back into a child. And I don't know if I can ever experience that feel again the same way. I adore just walking around this town, hearing the train go flying, all the cicadas everywhere. It's eye and ear candy to its finest, which is awesome because it's not even a mechanically complex game by any means. I mean, one of these sections is literally just a rock, paper, scissors card monster game, essentially, and even that transported me back to when I was a kid. I love this game. I love not having to worry, brain flying away, drooling out my mouth, just looking at calming yellows and pixelated goofballs. It's nice. And when the 3DS eShop shut down, that was the game I made sure to get. Yeah. As we continue talking about memories, we could finally get into my most recent memories over the past maybe less than 2 years. On the 3DS, I've made around 4 videos or so in the past 2.5 years, I would say. I made a 3DS badge arcade video. I made 2 videos about eShop games you have to buy before it's gone. Whatever clickbaity title, catchy title I used back then. And then I made a video on something else, or maybe that video never dropped. Now that I'm thinking about it. Yep, I don't think it ever came out. Whoops. But in recent collections, I've gotten more games, and I've played more things, and I've understood the 3DS more, and I've bought some things. So let's go over that right now. Probably the last DS game I bought physically was, I did buy this original DS game called Kuropoto, I think is how you pronounce it, which is like this galaxy star aligning puzzle game. Super cute game. I recommend it to anyone who likes those relaxing puzzle-like games, but this one is a little bit unique because it kind of reminds me of that WiiWare era with the cute little charming characters that don't really have names or faces, or names or, personality. It's just like cute little guys. That's a good game. I never beat that one, but it's really a pick up and play. So I picked up and played about a little while, a couple years ago. The most recent physical DS game that I bought was actually in the past couple months. It was a Brain Age 2 game that I found for, I think, $5 at this local bookstore. And I was playing a good amount of that. I checked my age number and it was absolutely horrible. I'm apparently a dumbass, or I have the age capacity of an 80-year-old. I was playing Sudoku on there, which Sudoku is one of my favorite actual puzzle games, like I guess real life puzzle games, if you want to call it that. It's fun. I'll definitely have to pick that one up again, playing it, because I haven't played it in recent weeks. But I like Brain Age. Brain Age helps me a lot. I would say the most recent 3DS game I bought physically was last year, the end of last year. I was trying to make a Halloween video for Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. And I think this was around the time where we knew we were getting Dark Moon remastered, or Luigi's Mansion 2 on Switch. But it might have been before that. I might have bought it right before that. But I was playing that. I got about 30-40% through the game. And I do like that game. I actually think the controls it controls very nicely. And I think the aesthetic is one of the best looking 3DS games out there. It's just the lack of that I think draws me and other people away slightly. But after experiencing that game with a fresh eye in recent years, in the 2020s, it's not that bad. It's actually not horrible. Obviously not horrible enough to spark a remaster that I think is doing pretty well. But I actually like Dark Moon. So one day I'll have to definitely talk about that. The biggest, most important section possibly of this video we get to talk about. And while Pokémon X is that for me personally, this one is important for all of us. The question is, where were you when the 3DS eShop shut down? I can't do it anymore. I loved the 3DS eShop. The final hope, alongside the Wii U, of charming, perfected Nintendo shops, and the UI was just not as horrible as what we have on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know what we're doing on the Nintendo Switch, but it is not pretty. It does not make me want to buy games. But the 3DS made me want to buy games like no other system. It just had this fun look to it. It felt almost like this virtual mobile game. Like the 3DS eShop had enough capability in it to be its own functioning play experience. And you do not get that absolutely anywhere else in any other system, store, or UI in another console. It was like the last hope for this. Buying a game and seeing Mario run around, filling up this space as it was downloading onto your system. The sound effects and the music kind of cheering you on as you're getting these games. It's kind of saying, hey, you're about to play something awesome. I'm so proud of you. I'm excited. That's what it felt like hopping onto the eShop. And every time you would get a game, whether it was a free download, a DLC, or buying a new game, it was really amazing. As the eShop was coming to a close, a lot of sales were coming out, and surprisingly, video games were still coming out. I don't know if you guys know this as much, but one of the last games that came out, technically, and the last games I bought was Automaton Lung. It's this Dreamcast looking experience where you're walking around kind of exploring this voidless polygonal world. It kind of reminds me of Piano 3 on the GameCube from Capcom, but it has less textures, very beta-like, and it kind of has that Dreamcast aesthetic that I really like, exploring around, just shooting things, jumping.
Automaton Lung was a must-buy for me since it's one of the last eShop games to ever release. It came out this summer and hardly anyone is talking about it. The developer does have some other bare bones titles on the eShop, but Automaton Lung stands out the most, mainly with its Dreamcast-like aesthetic. It looks like a really weird beta version of like a Piano 3 from the GameCube. It's a Capcom game released only on the GameCube, if you ever seen that. It admittedly isn't a fully fleshed out game, but it feels like an exploration simulator in this sci-fi planet, showing the capabilities of the 3DS. Yeah, glorified tech demo I guess, but overall still has a lot to offer, and I can feel satisfied with this being one of the last things on the 3DS, better than something corporate or greedy at the very least.
I like this game. It doesn't really do much for anybody, and this developer doesn't really make story-based games necessarily, but this was one of the most interesting games I've played on the 3DS for many reasons, including that it was one of the last kind of uploaded. I think it was uploaded 2023 or 2022 possibly. I'm not sure on that one. But there were some good deals as the eShop was closing. I bought, I think, a lot of the Phoenix Wright games for less than $12, $8, I think. It was a trilogy. I bought for a couple dollars. I bought Attack of the Friday Monsters, as I was telling you guys earlier. And then 2 little cute DS games. I bought a Chibi Robo. That was the Photo Finder one, which it looks good, but it isn't really like this essential game, and it doesn't really have the same grand opening that the other Chibi Robos have, especially the original one. And then the other DS game I bought was WarioWare Snapped, or it might have been Touched. It's like the one that you incorporate your photos and silly stuff in, and that was on the DS. I've yet to play that one, but I did want that one, since the WarioWare games, I feel like, are very important and vital to history of Nintendo, but also specifically the handheld history. All right, sorry for the weird cutoff right there. I'm pretty sure I was just talking about WarioWare or something on the DS or 3DS. Yeah, that was kind of where I ended my main script, and now I'm just gonna go kind of off the dome, but I guess I did promise you guys that I would say and talk about the weird Miiverse story I have. Don't mind me when I'm playing. I'm just playing. I just booted up Albion Online. I gotta finish the tutorial. So I hope you enjoy this little stupid gameplay while I talk about that, because I didn't really have anything fully prepared at the last second. I didn't expect to use this time up in this way, so just bear with me. So essentially, thank you for watching this video. I will be thanking you after I tell you this little story. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. I'll go a little bit more in depth of what I've been doing lately and how life has been. Use this kind of as like a little update video portion to kind of get like fill in the next 5 or 10 minutes or so, since I was trying to make an hour-long video for 3DS memories, but I could only fill about 45 minutes of real solid content in there for you. I hope it was a chill video. I hope I did what I wanted to do, which was kind of a sleep aid, something you could turn on and just relax to and fall asleep to if you're having trouble. I've been using these recently, so they're really nice, and I do love them, and I just wanted to try one out for myself in between my real content. Let me tell you the story. In Miiverse, when I was about 12, 13, if you remember when I was talking about Miiverse earlier in this video, I mentioned kind of this like clan I had. It was like a Divergent clan or something like that. I know Divergent is that movie and those book series, and I love those movies, I love those books, but it was something based off of that, or it was like Divergent Guild something. I thought it was a cool name at the time. Looking back, obviously, yeah, it was not that cool. What was funny though is I made like actual friends from this little guild. I hopped on every day trying to talk to them. It was really, really enjoyable for a long period of time. And over a while, there was kind of this trend that I don't know if many people remember on Miiverse, and this could be some unspoken kind of lore about Miiverse that I'm going to uncover today, but I guess we'll see. About Miiverse is that there was a hidden role-playing community, or an RP community. So nowadays you see RP in all sorts of ways. It's essentially people taking up this character, whether it be a fake or like faking being a real person or a fake person or a creature or something, and they kind of role play through this story with other people. It's really cringe, really silly sometimes, but again, it is essentially D&D now, and D&D is pretty cool, so maybe this will like ease off my cringe a little bit. But what I did was actually really cringe. So back in the day when I was like 12 or 13, I did I think with that clan or that guild, Divergent Guild, whatever, we did an RP, and it was Pokemon Human High School RP. I know, God, I hate saying it out loud. It sounds vile saying it. Sounds weird. It sounds wrong. Essentially, what happened in this Pokehuman RP was we were Pokemon, but we were like humanified. So it was like human versions of Pokemon, and of course, naturally, I was my favorite, and still is my favorite Pokemon. I was a teenager humanoid Jolteon. I was this pale white, I had like yellow hair, anime teenager that had a yellow jacket, and on the jacket was like Jolteon's ears and stuff, and we would go to high school, and there was all kinds of people participating in this role play. Surprisingly, I know. And this was all on Miiverse. We never transitioned over to anything else. It was all on Miiverse, which was it just adds to the cringe in the best way. I think it's hilarious looking back now. But in that, we had our own we had a high school that everyone agreed to the rules of, and there was like after school moments in the RP, and there was a whole clique of the evolutions, and some of them didn't like each other, and I was that cool, nerdy but shy guy that like I think I was like the quickest on the team, the fastest runner in school or something. Oh man, I don't want to remember, let me tell you that. But I had some like unique quirk about me that the others didn't have, essentially. So it was this like funny thing of me acting as this character and saying, oh, not really understanding when the girls are hitting on me, like, oh, you just want to be friends, right? I was like literally Saikuno, the streamer. I was literally Saikuno, but in roleplay before I knew who Saikuno was. It's so dumb. This was horrible though. Like I don't regret it, but it was horrible to think about. Super hilarious too. That's my cringe stuff. I can't remember exact moments. The only like clear-ish memory that I can remember from this whole role-playing activity was a couple moments in the park. I think that's when shit went really down for some reason. Like after school, across the school in the park on the field, so many people would hang out, and that's the hangout spot, and people would talk and have conversations and little bits of love and romance, not like anything like sexual or creepy in any way, and everyone was underage at this time, I think, so we like kept it very PG, because we were all just like kids having like being stupid. But some people took it really seriously, and I took it mid seriously. Everyone did the asterisks of I put my hoodie down to my shoulders, and I looked at the Sylveon's eyes in a clear blue light, like some just stupid shit that I can never take back. But it was never weird. It was never no like it is weird, but it was never no like sexual things. Luckily, I was very surprisingly well protected as a kid. I just didn't do that much stupid stuff, if I'm being honest. Yeah, but that's really my weird journey into the Miiverse RP. Thanks for listening to that. I hope you enjoyed this kind of random video. Not really the usual video on my channel, but I do have some more normal stuff coming up in the recent future. Yeah, but that's the story of my cringy Miiverse experiences. There was tons more one-on-one conversations I couldn't even dream of reading now, but most of that's gone. I remember there was like some museum log activity kind of thing where you could check old messages. And I did check old posts specifically at one point, but I can't quite remember that site, nor can I remember my name and account information. It is a little bit sad. But genuinely, thank you for watching this video, and I hope it provided you with some sort of help with your sleep or sleep aid or comforting or ASMR or whatever. Honestly, whatever floats your situation right now. I hope you enjoyed listening to some of the memories I've had, and please share some of your memories and experiences in the comments. I would love to hear any kind of interesting stories, especially Miiverse related. I am not one to judge, as you can see. I would love to talk more about this in the future and maybe do a different kind of video, maybe like reviewing games or any kind of interesting thing that I can do long form sleep aids of. That would be my favorite kind of thing to do. Again, thank you, and also thank you for 900 subscribers. I never got to properly thank anyone yet. I think the last time was 600 or something, the last time I posted a video. I can't quite remember. Really appreciate that. If you got to this late into the video, you do deserve some kind of like interesting notion. So in the future, I got some plans for videos upcoming in the next couple months. I don't really make videos that consistently, as everyone knows, but what I do have planned and started already in production is a Pokemon Red video, a whole retrospective on the first game, and I got another retrospective on the Life is Strange series, hopefully coming soon. Both of those should be out sometimes in the next 2 months, 2 to 3 months, and other than that, next year or maybe around December time, we're working on some Borderlands, we're working on some hidden gem games, we're working on tons of stuff, and I hope you're really excited for it. So as I'm getting my ass beat here, let me heal up. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I'm kind of just stalling. I don't know why, because I don't know how to play this game, if I'm being clear. Oh, I survived. Alright, now that we're alive, everyone, peace, love, thank you. My name has been Rox. Share any kind of comments you have down below with the 3DS memories. I would love to hear it, and I gotta go. See you. Hope you liked the video. Sorry for the upload 100 days after I uploaded Luigi's Mansion. I'm sorry about that, but happy Halloween. I'll see you.